Okay. The pink one. So, to start, number 1 says determine the quadrants where the following occur. So the sine and the secant have the same sign. So if I draw a little quadrant over here, the sine is the y value. So where is the y positive? The first and the second, okay? So the sine is going to be positive in the first and the second. If I draw a second one, the secant, what is the secant the inverse for? Cosine or sine? Cos, so that's my x. So where is the x going to be positive?
Right side.
And fourth. So where do the sine and the secant have the same sign? Only in one. Well, because it's the only place that they overlap. Cosine of theta is positive. So where's the cosine positive? So it's this one, right? It's the 1 and 4. Where's the cosecant negative? Cosecant is the inverse of which one? Sine. So I want to know where y is negative. Y is negative 3 and 4. So where do these two overlap? Just 4. Okay, tangent and cotangent. So I want to know where they have the same sign. So tangent and cotangent, that's x over y and y over x, right? So where are those going to have the same sign? All right, so the first, they're both positive, right? What's true about the third? So they're both positive here. So that's all the same, right? What about the second and the fourth? What's true in the second and the fourth? They're both negative. So where are they the same sign?
1 and 2 or 3 and 4?
All 4 of them, right?
All 4.
So we said the cosine is positive. That's this one right here. That's where my x's are positive. But I want to know where the tangent is negative. So the tangent is negative in 2 and 4. So which one overlaps? 4. Okay? Everybody hunky-dory? Okay. So next, first of all, starting with number 5, is that on the unit circle or is not on the unit circle? How do you know it's not? Well, it's fractions. If it's on the unit circle, what would the radius be? Is the radius on the bottom 1 this time? No, it's not. So
Where do you find that it is 1 or not?
where do I find it?
How do you know if it's 1 or not?
Because this would be negative 5.
Oh, but it's over
Yeah. Okay? So if you look, the sine is what values? Y over R. And what's the cosine? X over R. So if I'm going to draw my little triangle, the radius will be 13 this time. Okay? So the negative 5 is my y value, and the negative 12 is my x value. correct? So negative 12 goes this way. So I'm going to have negative 12. The negative 5 goes down, so this is negative 5. And then here's my radius, which is 13. Now the tangent is y over x. So what's my y value? And my x value? So a negative divided by negative is positive. The cosecant is the inverse of sine, so that's r over y. And you told me that my r is 13 and my y value is, so does it matter which way I write it? It doesn't. The secant is going to be the inverse of the cosine, which is going to be r over x. So that's going to give me 13 over negative 12. And the cotangent? X over y. So that's going to give me negative 12 over negative 5, which is 12 over 5. Okay, starting on number 6. Okay, so first of all, cotangent is what? X over y. Very good. And my sine is going to be y over r. Now, so Isaac, you were asking a little while ago. So look at, if it's 13 on the bottom, does that mean that the radius is 13? So, okay, on the last one, they were both 13, right? And so if I did 5 squared plus 12 squared and took the square root, that gives me 13. But watch what happens here. If I know this is x and I know this is y, so if I take 2 squared plus 3 squared, what do I get? And so I have to take, for my r, it's the square root of 13. Does that make sense? And for right now, I didn't put any signs because does it matter if it's positive or negative when I square it? It doesn't matter. So I know that for my r is the square root of 13. So if I look at this one over here, I already rationalized the denominator, right? That's why it's a 13. That's rationalized already. So if I know that this is a negative 2/3, but my sign is positive, is the y going to be positive or negative?
Positive.
It has to be positive, right? Because the r is always positive. The radius is always positive. So the y has to be positive. So if the y is positive, what has to be true of the x?
Negative.
So when I'm drawing my circle, which way do I draw it? So I have to go negative 2, which is this way, but up 3, and then here's my radius, which is the square root of 13. So now can I just fill in the rest of my values? So my cosine is what? Negative 2 over the square root of 13. Can I have a square root of 13 on bottom? No. And the tangent of theta? So the tangent is going to be y over x, which is going to give me 3 over negative 2. The secant is r over x, and the radius is the square root of 13, and my x is negative 2. And the cosecant is r over y, which makes this square root of 13 over 3.